welcome back to my channel, Paradise Bags by Brandi. Today we're going to be learning how to make the Isipaje purse, which in Zulu translates in English to wallet purse, which is clever because this is a wallet. This is the large size, so there are two different patterns that you can purchase, one for the small size and one for the large. Today we're going to be working on the large size. There is a unique way of how we add the card slots for this wallet. It's got the option for 12 different card slots, 2 slide pockets on the inside, as well as a zipper pocket on the outside. So with 12 card slots, you can hold a lot of cards in this wallet. It doesn't have the option for a billfold area, but with the slip pockets, you could put your billfold or your receipts in either side. This wallet does finish out at 6.5 by 3.5 by 1, and this is made for leather, vinyl, cork, something that you can leave the edges raw on. Now you could finish those edges off with some edge paint or maybe coloring them in. I just tend to leave mine raw with no color. I like the way that it looks, but the option is totally up to you. We do have in this wallet an ID window slot so that you can put your ID in there, you can see it, and you don't have to take it out. I do add the option for putting a hole in the window slot so that you can easily just thumb it out and then put it back in. This wallet does require you to either know how to install cam snaps, spring snaps, or some type of flap tongue lock of some sort. I'll be using cam snaps for this one, just because they're a little bit easier than that. No, I'm sorry, I'll be using spring snaps for this. So I will show how to install the spring snaps. We'll just make sure to turn the volume down on that because it gets a little loud. I will be using, instead of 2-inch ribbon, which is what the pattern calls for, I'll be using something called olifun. It's a thin, almost opaque material that you can get at Hobby Lobby. You can also purchase it on Amazon as well. But being that it's a thin material, when we go to add all these card slots, we don't end up with a big bulk for those card slot areas. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so we've gathered all of our pieces. We have everything cut out and ready to go. Let me quickly go through the pieces that you're going to need and pieces that I'm going to be omitting. So we're going to need one, and you'll need 2 exterior pieces. You'll need B, which is the zipper pocket. You'll need piece C, and you should already have your holes cut into piece C, as well as your lines cut out as well. You'll need piece D with the window slot, and then of course have your holes cut and your lines cut as well. You'll need piece E, which is the wallet flap. You'll need piece F, which is your clear vinyl for your ID window slot. And then you'll also need strips of 2-inch wide either ribbon, or I'm using olifun, which is just a thin kind of opaque type of material that you can either buy from Hobby Lobby or you can also get it on Amazon. One piece that I'm omitting is piece G. I feel like the outside zipper pocket doesn't really need that extra piece of fabric on the inside. It's perfectly fine to leave it raw. Even if you were to add this piece of cotton to the inside, your zipper is still going to end up raw anyways. So I feel like this piece just adds something that doesn't really need to be there. But that choice is up to you. But I won't be adding this fabric piece to that zipper pocket. The other pieces that you're going to need are some either cam snaps or spring snaps of some sort, something that you can use to close the wallet up with. I'm using spring snaps, but you can use cam snaps, you can use a flip lock, you could probably even use a tongue lock too. So anything that'll, when you fold the wallet over, you can close it up. And then you'll also need a number 3 zipper tape and number 3 zipper pull. You could probably get away with using a number 5, but honestly you can get number 3 zipper at any craft store. Most of us that are into bag making have lots of number 3, but either one will work. So let me kind of show you these wallets really quick and what they look like. So I have two different here that I've made. They're all constructed the exact same way. I feel like you don't really need to make any changes to this pattern. But look how cute. And so we have those spring snaps here in the front, and the wallet opens up. You have those 6 card slots on one side and 6 on the other. Slip pockets on either side. And then you have the option of leaving this flap here unsewn, but I sew mine because I don't understand the purpose of leaving this unsewn, so I sew mine across. And so it all closes back up with those spring snaps. And then on the back we have that zipper pocket. And so you can see whether you put fabric in here or not, it doesn't matter. You're still going to see that back vinyl. And honestly, it doesn't matter if it's raw on the inside because this is a raw edge wallet. I just felt like omitting that piece of fabric would be just fine. But very, very cute. I do love the way that these come out. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab piece D and one of our strips of either ribbon or whatever material you're using, some double-sided sticky tape. And so we need to add, now you should already have your holes and your card slots cut out, but we need to add some double-sided sticky tape to our card slots. So the first thing you want to do is you want to put one piece down here at the window, at the bottom of the ID window. And then I put double-sided sticky tape around the window as well, and I'll kind of show you why when we get to that step. So just like that, all the way around. But the pattern only calls for you to put it down here, but I like to do the whole thing that way I know that my window isn't going to slip out of place. Now the next thing that we need to do is that this bottom card slot here, you want to put a piece of tape above that line, okay? Not below it, but we want to go above it. And try and get it as close to the edge as you can. Now for the rest of our pieces here, we want to add the line below those card slot openings. And sometimes you need to kind of lift your card slot openings up so you can see where that line is. Okay, so below each one of those. Okay, now when you get to this very top one, you want to put another piece above that card slot opening. So you should have something that looks just like that. So all around our ID window, above one line of double-sided sticky tape, above our first card slot, and then each one below, okay? And then when you get to this top one, have one below the card slot opening and above the card slot opening. So I like to start with my ID window first. Kind of get this wrinkle out of it. Okay. And so I'm going to pull my double-sided sticky tape off of around the window. Maybe. Sometimes you can't get that backing off. Okay. And then I cut my window pretty big. I mean, I know that's kind of hard to see, but I cut mine bigger than what the pattern says so that I can place it on here, sew it, and then I just trim the rest of it. But I want to make sure that my top edge of my window is at least far enough down that it's not going to get caught. So I just take and place that on there. One thing to understand about clear vinyl and double-sided sticky tape, once it's on, it's on. You cannot get that back off. So then you should have something that looks just like that. Okay, so now you should have your card slot stitched all the way around. Or I'm sorry, your clear window stitched all the way around, and then any extra trimmed off from the back of the card slot. So what we want to do now is we want to grab our ribbon or whatever you're using for your card slots. We need to place a piece of double-sided sticky tape just below our ID window. Okay, so just like that, just below it. Then we're going to take one raw edge of our ribbon or card slot piece. We're going to place it on that double-sided sticky tape. And then make sure it's nice and straight over the window. If you start out straight now, it'll be a lot easier to keep it all straight later on. Now you can use 2.5 inch wide if you're a little bit more comfortable doing that, but the pattern does call for 2 inch, so I just went with 2 inch. So as you can see, we want to keep it nice and straight and lined up with that ID window. So now we're going to pull off that first piece of tape here. Okay, just like that. Again, keeping everything nice and straight, we're going to press that down. Okay, and now we're going to fold back our card slot piece and folding it back on itself right where that tape is at. Okay, so just like that. Now we do want to mark up from our ribbon here. I apologize, let me see real quick. I always get this wrong. So we want to measure up 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of our vinyl. Okay, so grab you a piece of double-sided sticky tape, just about a 2 inch piece. It doesn't need to be big. And then we're going to measure up 3/4 of an inch from the bottom raw edge of our vinyl or your exterior piece, and just place that tape down. Okay, so just like that. So now pull the backing off. Okay. Fold that back down. Nice and straight. Press that in. And now we want to sew above our card slot opening right here, okay? Don't sew below it. If you sew below it, you'll close the card slot off and you won't be able to use it. So sew just above that card slot opening. So my tip or trick for you when sewing these card slots like this is watch where your vinyl is going. Don't watch where your needle is going. Okay, so line up right about in the center of the circle. Don't backstitch. We're going to pull long tails and just go slow and sew across. And then we want to stop about mid-circle on the other side. Flip it over and pull those threads to the back. Now here you have the option of either tying these threads off, or you can just clip them and melt them if you're using polyester thread. Either way is perfectly sufficient. I am going to tie mine off just to show you, but then the rest of mine I'll just be trimming and melting. Just because it goes a little bit quicker, and really both ways is perfectly sufficient to hold those threads in place so that your card slots don't come apart. Okay, so just like that, nice strong knot, clip it, and then melt your threads down. Now if you're using a cotton-based thread, you won't be able to melt them down, but maybe you could add a little bit of glue or something on those knots so that they don't come apart. Okay, so now we're going to continue on. So our next one, we're going to pull our tape from. Now we're going to fold up that card slot. Where we added this tape at the bottom though, you want to keep that intact. So fold right at that tape. Again, keeping everything nice and straight, just like that. And now we're going to measure up 3/8 of an inch from the bottom of our first card slot. Okay, so 3/8 of an inch. From that bottom card slot. Place you some tape down. Now, if you don't like using double-sided sticky tape, you could add you just a little bit of glue right there. So mark it with a pen and then add a little bit of glue and hold it. There's lots of fast-drying glues out there that you can use and lots of glues that you can even sew through. Right, pull that off. But since we're not sewing through this piece of tape here, I don't really worry about it having tape there. And then fold this down again the same way we did before. Okay, just like that. Give it a good crease. Okay, now we want to sew below our second card slot opening. Okay, so just like before, we want to line up about center with our hole. Watch our fabric, not our needle, and sew across. And then stop about center on the other one. If you need to change your stitch length, you can do that. We just want it to look as uniform as possible. All right, so just like before, pull those threads to the back. When they want to cooperate, well, here we go. So now this time I'm just going to pull up on my threads and make sure they're nice and tight. Clip them. And then I'm just going to melt them down. Okay, so just like that. So now you should have two card slots or one card slot completed at this point. So you'll have your one for your ID and then the beginning of your next one. So we're going to continue this in the same manner, just folding it up, adding it, and then measuring up 3/8 of an inch from the bottom until you come all the way to the top. And then when we get back, I'll show you how I finished off the top. Okay, so now we should be almost done with our card slots. You should be on your very last one here. The way that I finish this off is that I will take off that last piece of double-sided sticky tape, fold my piece up, keeping it nice and straight, fold it down, and then I'm going to stitch right above that last card slot. Again, about the center of the hole. And sew all the way across. Okay. Pull your threads to the back. Kind of pull them up a little tight. Trim your threads or tie them if you're going to tie them off. And then trim off that excess fabric. Don't get too close to your sewing line, but just trim it down some. So just like that. So now you should have something that looks like an accordion on the back side. Okay. Now what I like to do is that I've noticed that when the cards are in the card slot, they want to shift one way or the other. So I take just a little bit of masking tape, and you can sew through masking tape. It's not going to hurt your machine. I just take a little piece and then I set it right here on this side, on the inside, and just smooth it out really good. And that's going to keep those cards from shifting one way or the other. Okay, so just like that. So now what we want to do is we want to close this whole thing up. So just grab some double-sided sticky tape, find the center, because we don't need to put tape all the way across. So I just find the center of where this fold is going to be. And then I add some tape. This just makes it a lot easier to fold it up and make sure that nothing is going to shift in the process. Just down the long side and then back across. Okay. And pull your backing off when it wants to cooperate. That goes. Okay, and then we're just going to fold this in half, matching up our raw edges. The straighter you get it and the better matched up you get it, the less trimming you're going to have to do later. So really try and get those edges lined up nice and even. Okay, just like that. And then I just take and pinch it and match it across. So just like that. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to top stitch this folded edge. We want to top stitch that down by 1/8 of an inch. And I already know that my vinyl is going to be a little on the sticky side, so I'm just going to add a little bit of sewer's aid to keep it from sticking. Do a single back stitch at the top and a single back stitch at the bottom. And trim your threads. And then if you need to wipe off any sewer's aid or oil that you may have put on there, I just take that extra piece of Ollie Fun that I pulled off and just wipe that off. So now you should have something that looks just like this. Okay, so grab you, I always keep a couple of gift cards in my stash, so I just put these in here and kind of check it out and make sure that my cards are going to fit okay. And I am liking how they're sticking out just enough that they're easy to grab. Let me check that last one up here at the top. Yeah, okay, so those look good. So we just want to make sure that the cards are going to fit fine and that they're easy to pull in and out. So that's your first one. So now grab piece D. I'm sorry, grab piece C. And we're going to continue this exact same process as we did for piece D. So we're going to add our double-sided sticky tape to the bottom, but on this one, we're going to add double-sided sticky tape to the bottom of each one of our card slots. Don't place it above, but add it below, below the card slot openings. And we'll continue and do the exact same process with our other piece of card slot lining. Okay, so now you should have both card slots done. So stitched on the folded edge, all of your card slots in there. all of your cards fit and ready to go. Same with our ID window that we did together. Now, if you have anything that you need to trim off the side, you'll want to do that before we go on to adding these to the main part. But for right now, we're just going to set these off to the side. And we need to grab piece B, which is our zipper pocket, our zipper tape, and our zipper pull. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I am omitting piece G, which is the fabric piece that goes to this. I just kind of felt like it wasn't needed, but you can absolutely add that fabric piece to this. You could also use some HTV or some regular sticky vinyl on the back of this if you didn't want it to be raw. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to lay down some double-sided sticky tape around our window here, just along out on the outside of the window. And I do all 4 edges. Okay, pull that backing off. Grab your zipper, add your pull if it's not already on. A little trick to add in your pull, if you're using zipper by the yard, I just take my zipper pull and I look on the inside and I'm about 2 teeth in. I'll take my other side and slip it in, and then I look down into my zipper and make sure those teeth are nice and straight and even across the top. Once they are, I just pull my zipper on. So just like that. So now we're going to add this to our zipper pocket, nice and centered. Get that really pressed on there. So just like this. So on the back. So now we're going to stitch all 4 corners. Needle down, rotate, so across the side. Let's go 1 more stitch. So across the top. Okay, back down the other side. And then sew back to match up where we started. Right, pull long threads. And then pull those threads to the back, tie them off, and then trim your threads. When it wants to cooperate with you. There it goes. Sometimes they get stuck inside of each other and they want to get tangled up. All right, so what I do is I just kind of pull tightly on my threads and then tie them off. So I do a single hitch and then a double hitch, pull tight, and then a single hitch to finish it. And pull tight. Right, and trim those down. And then melt the threads. So now I've got this additional zipper tape that's hanging over. I want to go ahead and trim that down, and I want to trim decently close to my sewn line, but be careful, don't go over and accidentally clip your stitches. So I just take and fold my pocket back out of the way and then just trim it. And then I'll take my lighter and singe that back down again so it doesn't fray over time. And on the other side. Okay, so just like that. Throw all that away. So now we want to grab one of our exterior piece A. You should already have your holes punched. So if you can see those holes there, you should already have those punched and ready to go. We're going to take our pattern piece and you can either use your pattern piece to line up where your pocket needs to be, or you can also measure three and a quarter from our angled edge. So for me, it's just easiest to measure 3 and a quarter from my angled edge rather than try and transfer it from the pattern piece. So once again, we're going to lay down some double-sided sticky tape. Again, you don't have to. If you just want to hold it in place, you can certainly do that. Okay, and then across the top. And then back down the other side. Really make sure that's on there good. Okay, so now our zipper, the top of our zipper, needs to be towards the top of our angled edge, or the edge that we're measuring down from. So 3 and a quarter down. So I can hold that zipper and centered. And just push all that down. Okay. So just like that. So now we're going to top stitch around the outside of this box, and then we're going to add our snaps to the bottom part of our wallet. So that's that non-angled edge at the bottom part of our wallet here. So add those snaps there, whether you're doing spring snaps, cam snaps, if you're doing some type of flip lock, you'll want the male side of the flip lock to be on this side here. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so now I have added my zipper pocket to the outside, stitched all the way around it. I added my Decoville light pieces to the end. This piece is very important. Definitely make sure that you add this to the wallet. That's going to give your buttons a little bit more structure and make sure that they don't fall out over time. So I added those, and then I added my male side of my snaps. Okay, so now that we have that piece done, we want to grab our other piece A. Okay, you should again already have your holes marked for this. We want to grab our 2 card slot pieces. If you have any that you need to trim off of here to make it nice and even, go ahead and do that now, if you haven't already done so. I just had a little bit there on the edge. But having those nice and even will definitely make it easier later on to get everything matched up. And same thing on this other one. Let's see now. So what we want to do is we want to grab piece A. I'm going to orient it this way with my top up. And we want to transfer those markings from pattern A to our vinyl. I don't know why I never have a pen on me. I always have to go look for one. So transfer that line onto the pattern. Okay. And then we just want to connect that line. Now I'm doing this in a gel pen so that later on I can go back and I can erase this line. We don't want to use a heat pen because you don't want to put that much heat to your vinyl. So I found that a gel pen is just as easy. And I just make a little line, nothing too crazy. So just like that, okay? So now we want to take our card slot, that's the one without the window. Let me just say that depending on how you cut these out, the one that I'm doing is without the window, but you would want the card slot that has the folded edge facing inward, okay? So whether it's your one with the window or the one without the window, it doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that the card slot here is the one that has the fold on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of double-sided sticky tape around my 3 edges here, just 1/8 of an inch double-sided sticky tape. You don't want to do too wide, and because we're only going to be stitching at 1/8 of an inch. So we'll get that all the way around. Just like that. We're going to do the same thing with our other one. Might as well do it all at the same time. Save us some time later on. So just like that. And again on this long side. So grab our one card slot that has our cards facing up. We should have our angled edge on our right side. And we're going to pull that backing off of our tape. Okay, and then we're going to place our raw edge right up against that line that we just drew. Okay, so just like that. Okay, so now we want to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, again, folded side inward. And make sure you line up all those edges nice and straight so we have less to trim later on. Okay, just like this. Okay, so now we're going to stitch only one side. We're going to stitch this raw edge right here that's on the inside of the wallet. So just this edge right here. We're going to stitch the other sides when we go to put the whole wallet together. Okay, trim your threads off. And then if you had to use some sewer's aid, just wipe that sewer's aid off. Okay, so you should have something that looks just like this. Okay, so now the next thing that we want to do is we want to grab our other exterior piece, so our outside piece. We want to line up all of our edges, okay? You have a couple of options here. You can add double-sided sticky tape around the whole edge, or you can glue these two pieces together. Personally, I like to glue these two pieces together because then that gives me an opportunity to put this in my press and press it nice and flat so that these card slots are a little bit more flat than what they are right now. But if you don't want to use glue, or maybe you don't have a glue, I do recommend Beacon 3-in-1 because it does dry quickly. But I'm going to glue mine in so that I don't end up with this. When you don't glue it in, you end up with this weird looking line here where it almost looks like it's trying to separate right in between your slots and then here on the flap. So I'm going to glue mine in. And then when we come back after that, we'll stitch the whole thing together and add our other two snap pockets. Or, I'm sorry, our other two snaps. Okay, so you should have your wallet glued together. So it should be nice and glued, should be dry at this point. One thing that I do like about Beacon 3-in-1 is that it dries super fast. So it should all be dried at this point and ready to go. So now what we want to do is we want to grab piece E, which is that wallet flap. Now you could omit this piece, right? Because it's going to go right here. It's really more of a decorative piece more than anything, but it does give the wallet a little bit of extra security for those snaps so that they don't come, pull out over time. So I've already added some double-sided sticky tape to all four edges, and we're just going to place this on the wallet. So pull that backing off. And then just line up all of your edges. Just so. Okay, just like that. We're going to stitch across this top edge first. We're going to come down across the bottom, back up. We're going to sew this whole outside piece, stopping here at this side. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to add some sewer's aid just because I know it's going to get sticky on me. Marine vinyl can be sticky at times. We're just going to sew this at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, needle down, rotate, and then continue on. And then you can just add that sewer's aid as you need it. So as the vinyl becomes sticky again, we'll just add some more. And continue all the way down the bottom. Now what I like to do is when I get here to my card slots, I'm actually going to back stitch once, then come back over it again. Move that out of the way. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So just back stitch once and continue on. At times I can hear it kind of getting sticky on me and wanting to pull. So I just add a little bit more sewer's aid to it. Sewer's aid does not hurt your machine. It just allows for a little bit better, smoother sewing, and it helps with the thread too and all the double-sided sticky tape. When you get to this side here, you may find that you need to kind of hold your wallet up a little bit. Okay, rotate it around. Same thing, because those buttons, you may just need to hold it up some. Back stitch once, continue on. Oops. A lot of times you can hear it. It starts to get like a squeaky noise. Okay, just like that. And then pull your threads to the back, and we'll tie those off and trim them. So one double hitch and then a single hitch, nice strong knot. Trim those, trim this one. So now what we want to do is we want to go around our edge and trim off any excess that we may have from the wallet. So nice strong scissors, hold your wallet in one hand, don't move it around, move just your scissor hands. So as I'm cutting, I'm just keeping my wallet hand nice and straight and moving just my scissors. Okay. Just get all that excess off, make it nice and straight and even. And flip it over to the other side and make sure on the other side too. So what I like to do is I like to just hold it eye level so that I can see. Okay, now because I'm leaving my edges raw, I'm just going to run my lighter along the edges just to make sure if there's any little hairs that they all get kind of burned away so that there's nothing there. Okay. So now your wallet should look just like this. Just like that. So the last thing for us to do is, if you have any type of name tag that you want to put on here, you can put it on here now. I always put mine on the outside. And to install our female side of our snaps, and then we'll be all done. Thank you so much for sewing along with me. Hopefully you enjoyed the video just as much as I did. The Isipaje wallet is so fun to make. So you can see those front clips in there, and then your card slots on either side, along with that really nice zipper pocket in the back. I have a lot of fun making these, and I just know that you will too. They are very addictive to make, and before you know it, you've made a lot of them. The small wallet is also available on the website. The small wallet is even more addictive. Before you know it, you have 8, 9, 10 wallets that you've made in just a matter of time. They come together so very quickly, and they're a lot of fun. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a big old thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, be sure to subscribe so that you can get all of the latest updates. Thank you so much, and we'll see you later.